This is the Houndsman XP Podcast.
Good dog, get that bear. Get that bear in here.
The original podcast for the complete Houndsman.
Look at your coat of go, Justin. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him.
The podcast that represents our lifestyle of extreme performance.
Get him there. Get him. Get him. Yeah, good boy. Good boy, Ranger.
Uniting houndsmen across the globe, from east to west, north to south.
You know, if you're going to catch a cat or a lion, you know, you have to have teamwork.
We take you to the wildest places on earth.
Yeah, so how many days a week do you spend out there?
As much as I can, to be honest with you. Anytime that I get, I'm out there.
Join us for every heart-pounding adventure on Houndsman XP.
I'll tell you like I tell everyone else, I'm going to hunt whether you're here or not, so you might as well be here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Josh Michaelis with The Truth on the Houndsman XP Podcast Network, and today we are lucky enough to be joined by our first repeat guest, unless you count Finley, I guess, but you're our first repeat guest, Mr. Daugherty.
It's a privilege to be in the category. Jeff Finley.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're both national champions.
Yeah.
I remember when X lost his first one, and we were bantering back. We were bantering back and forth on Facebook, and you said something negative about Trader, and I said, well, at least he didn't lose a national championship.
Yeah, that is true. I lost it too, man. I lost it. Yeah.
I remember that was shot through the world, wasn't it?
Yeah. Shot.
Yeah.
Most sickening cast I've ever been in my life.
Well, let's just start off by talking about that cast, Jason. Tell me about it start to finish.
Well, I found myself there in the final three with Shot Through the World and Wild Bill.
Yeah.
I think Beggs was hunting Wild Bill, and Stallard Jeff was hunting Shot Through the World. We walked. I never will forget. It's a place I've never been. I still ain't been back at Salem. And the guide, I don't even know who was guiding me, but he walked. I always remember a guide that makes me walk before I cut loose because
I do too.
Hate walking.
I hate
That's
that.
why I was supposed to hunt. But man, he led us down this little old road bed. And we got down in there, and boy, you could tell it was just prime hunting, good place. And I had a little. I've been hearing stories about Bill, how he was supposed to be rough, and I knew one I was packing wasn't no angel.
Mm-hmm.
Thought, man, that first tree out of the truck, I'm gonna lay back. I'm not going, I'm gonna wait and see what happens if we get treed right here out of the truck. I've told myself that 1,000,000 times, and just like this time here, I didn't listen to. X opened under the minute and treed under the minute, and I struck and treed him in all one breath. Before I realized it, man, they all blowed up down there, and I thought, well, here it is. It's going to be the end of our.
Mm-hmm.
Be the easiest national champions that Shot ever won. I thought we're going to get scratched. Me and Bill walked back the truck. But we went down there, and I think Bill got 75. He didn't get no strike. I think he got 75. And Shot got 50 and a quarter. Or 50 and a quarter. And when we got down there, Shot was split about, I don't know, he wasn't. Shoot, you could throw a rock and hit him.
Yeah.
But X had a coon, and Shot had a coon, and Bill and X wasn't fighting. So I thought, well, thank God, and led off that. We recut. And X done it again. Went right out through her, and wham, 100 and 100 again. This time, Bill and Shot, I guess, I know they've had dog men behind them. They'd been taught, after that first tree to get on, because that's what they did. That's what they did. And we go in there, and I've got another coon. So that gives me 400, and I think Shot's got 150.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there, boy. I'm thinking, well, I'm done won me a national championship. I'm buying a truck, and I'm thinking about 2 bows for my dog kennels and all that. Well, X goes up through there, and Bill struck in. So now we're going in for quarters. It ain't like the strikes opened up or nothing. So, I've got this thing won and sold up. X goes up over the hill there and strikes a track. I'm wanting to hear something from these other ones, because this is March and the leaves ain't on. Anything can happen.
Right.
But finally, Jeff hears Shot through the world, like, that's his name. He got it honest. He hears him through yonder and strikes him.
Could you hear Shot whenever Jeff heard him?
Yeah.
Okay, because I drew Shot in the late round on Thursday night at the World Hunt one year, and Jeff heard him with a 35-mile-an-hour wind at our back, and he was over 2 miles away.
That was the same year. I believe it's the same year.
Yeah, I think it was.
I won't mention no names, because I don't know. He might want to forget this cast too, and I do too. But he knocked a dog out that probably should have been there. Yeah. But I mean, I heard him. So, but he was known for that. I mean, the dog was so far through her, and
he was. Yeah, he's a hard going dog.
Yeah, if you've got an ear for your dog, I can hear my dog better than you can.
That's right. That's right.
But everybody could hear it. Who was judging? Mike Hensley was judging, and Mike had a call, and he struck him, and we piddled around there a minute, and mine made a tree. Again, mine got treed over there, and I think, boy, if I got a coon here, man, I mean, if I've got this one, it is over. I'm going to make room for these plaques, and I'm going to be hanging up. All that. So we go over, and as we're going to mine, Jeff trees Shot back the other way, and we go to mine, and I've got a daggone squirrel nest. Didn't have nothing. Dog didn't have nothing. But it is what it is. Had a squirrel nest, and I recut him, and we go to Shot. Well, Shot's got a coon, and now where the time's running down. By the time we get to Shot, when we get to Shot's tree, there's 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
Shot's got a coon.
That coon put Shot at 275, and you're still 400, right?
I'm still at 400.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, as we're coming off Shot's tree, I hear X load up behind us. But I've watched him on this garment, and I know my dog.
Yeah.
He's hunting like a damn cur dog. Just, he's not really done what I want him to do.
Yeah.
And Shot come off that tree, and I'm thinking 15 minutes left, man. If I've got it, I've got to have a coon. If I got a coon, it's sold up. There ain't no way I can lose.
Yep.
When he unsnapped Shot, see him right down a fence rope. Fresh country, now we're over here in fresh country where there ain't been no dog. Shot take you, dogs ain't been. And we get over there, and man, as we're walking back across that field to X, I heard Shot come tree, and I knew then, man, I've got to have a coon.
Yep.
And Jeff goes and handles Shot, and me and Mike go in there Mike and Beggs go in there to X, and he's got a den tree. Now Beggs is trying to get us to hear Bill, but I'll be honest with you, I wasn't very sportsman at the time. $20,000 on the line. I don't want you to hear Bill.
Right.
Need to hear Bill. You need to go get him and go back to truck.
Yeah.
I want to win this 20,000. So I'm taking a daggone limb, and I'm beating this tree, squalling, beating, squalling. Beggs is over. You got me. Putting Hensley under the pressure. As a judge, that's what makes a good judge. Is you've got to stand your ground when two handlers has got you one by one ear and one by the other.
Amen.
I'm trying to size, and Beggs is trying to get him to hear. It puts a lot of pressure to him, but he held his pressure. And, he didn't hear him, but and he didn't see my coon either. But I had none. I had a tree. I was sick walking all the way through there because I knew what Shot had. We got in there and Shot had him one, tied us up at 400, and he beat me on promotion plus 3 points.
Yeah, he did. That gave him 300 plus 3 points to your 200.
Yep. He just beat me. A dog deserved it. Dog looked good. One of the nicer dogs I've had the opportunity to hunt with.
He was down at old Shot was down at Strickland's when I was down there for that. They had a pro classic down there back in the summer, and I guess that dog anymore, which he's got some age on him and stuff now, he don't move around very good anymore. Can you believe that out of Shot? I never would have thought it, but I'm sure the dog still trees a lot of coons.
Outlaws got to settle down. No Shot outlaw, man, and it's time for him to settle down. He's done. Yeah. He don't know whoever owns him. I don't even know who owns him. But whoever it is, he don't owe nobody nothing. That dog done. He paid for his own feed throughout his life. Yeah. But he made it rough on X that year, son, because anytime X would slow down and start to piss, I thought to myself, you got to be like Shot. You got to be. And that's what I did all that year. If he slowed down, I reminded him, Shot, wham. He ain't fat button. Shot, wham. But
how's old X doing right now, Jason?
Oh, man, he's just the same. Like I told you, I think we told this before. Whenever he treated this dog's so smart. I don't know if it's the dog. I believe it's more God than it is the dog. But when I pulled him off that tree where he treated that coon through there, I'm walking through there when I want it. Yeah. And I'm telling myself, man, if he's got this coon, he don't ever have to tree another coon. He can come home and lay on my couch, and we'll have just a big old time. I'm thinking it's gonna be different than what it is, Yeah. So I told him when he treed that coon, he don't ever have to tree another one, and I think he honestly took it to heart. It ain't been since that day. He come home. I come home from that Nationals, and I bred a gyp that night or that evening. Matt Tolliver brought a gyp down, Shine, out of Traders. Out of the Traders.
401k, be litter make sister to Shock. Yeah.
Brought her down there, and I bred her that night, and I took X and put him in the front seat of the truck, and we're going to go pleasure hunting. That dog went down there, and he left a tree, and I'm telling you, it was a year. It was probably a year and a half before I could get that dog settled in on them trees. Yeah. I don't know what caused it. It seemed like every time I bred a female, because I did it several times, and I take him hunting, breeding a female. Something to do with that female breeding him. I still ain't figured out why it is. But he would go out there and get tree, and he might sit in there and tree for 20 minutes. Yeah. When that Ford truck fired up, he would haul ass out of there. Yeah. I don't know, but here recently he's been back to his old self, kind of like Shot. Don't really want to move around like he used to, but an 8-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, I guess you're gonna slow down. I've slowed down a bunch, but I don't expect nothing out of him. As far as hunts, we was done when I walked in there at that tree. That was my goal. My goals has changed. I've kind of got to where I want to hunt female. I like to find me a real good female. I think I might have it.
Me and you have talked before, and I've always hunted males, and you preferred males here, but
yes, I did.
You look around, and we burned. Me and Jed have talked about all the males we burned up. I burned Con up. I burned Duds up. Jed burned Shock, Ralph, Dempsey. All them dogs. They're you can get a year or two out of them. And then next thing you know, I'm over here and I'm hunting Bella, or I'm hunting Rain, or I'm hunting Scent, and I'm still winning with these dogs at 7 and 8 years old. Yeah. And there's something to be said about them females that they just don't have to deal. You have to deal with their heat cycle.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this here with them. This here might help me on my mind, what I've been working. Did y'all breed them females?
They've all had pups. Every single one of them has had pups. Bella had a litter out of Duds, a litter out of Overdrive. Rain has had a litter out of Shock, and I believe another one. I can't remember the other one. Since been bred. It just seems like, and I don't know if it's the trader stuff or if it's all of them. You look at Ruby won after being bred too. A lot of females kind of have, but it's just, man, them males, and just like you said with Shock or with X, they bleed a female and something gets haywire. They're only going to take so much aggression, and they're only going to take so much correction. And I think they have a limit where these females don't have to deal with the same thing a male has to deal with.
I know it plumb took mine's mind off of coon hunting, and even, and I didn't breed a whole. I think X has got 160 pups on the ground.
Yeah.
I didn't breed a whole bunch at once. I mean, this is over the time period, but if the FedEx man pulls in my yard out here, X is on that door, and he is locating and treeing, and he's the happiest thing. That FedEx pulls out of that driveway, you got to let him out, and he'll go right out there to where that truck pulled up, and he'll go around it and smell. He's looking for the female.
Yeah.
It just gets in their mind that female. And what I've been doing here lately, because I think my partner Jeremy, I think he really wants to try to go to a hunt here and there. I don't want to wait, them pro classics, the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 entry fees. I'm going down there wasting his money to go to hunt that we can't win. So I've been here in the yard. I've been taking that collar, put that collar on him when he goes out there to smell where that truck has been. I let him know that's not a place to be.
Yep.
I've been having pretty good results out of doing that, but I don't know. I'm done with them males, man. They're just too much.
Yeah. Let me know if that works with X, because I've never been able to bring a male back for more than a cast or two. And I've tried. I tried with Con. I finally lost my temper with Con down at Texas, and I gave him to Brandon Demmett and Chance Lynch and told him, here, you can have him. I said, if you win a world hunt with him, he's not even allowed on the cover of Pro Hound, because I never want to see this dog's face again. Ever.
Dang, you gave him away?
I gave him away.
Oh, man.
I raised that dog from a 6-week-old puppy into 6 years old, and he was greater. Well, I'll tell you what he did, Jason, is I hunted him Sunday night with 3 strange dogs pleasure hunting. And he's the only dog treed a coon all night. He treed 3 singles. He's by himself. He moved around good. And I waited till Tuesday at the Lone Star, and I thought, well, I'll hunt him at the Lone Star, and I'm hunting rain at the in the Pro Classic on Saturday, so I'll hunt Con through the week. And I turned him loose, and he went out there. He got struck. He located. Some dogs come in there and covered him, and he just quit again. And he would do that. He was tired. He's tired of fighting. He's tired of messing with them dogs being around him. He's just tired of it, and I'm tired of him being a gutless puke.
That's it. Yeah.
And I knew he was going to go to a good home, and I knew them boys would take good care of him. And they've told me 100 times I can have him back anytime I want him, but I don't want him. I don't want to see him. I don't want to even know that he exists, to be honest.
I know exactly what you mean. It's just us as I'm not even going to put myself in a competition hunters category anymore. It's been so long since I've really been to one, but us as that, we've got that mindset in our mind that them dogs got to do a certain way,
right,
or they're not going to make us happy. Whereas that old dog's probably getting treated better where he's at now than he was when he was with you.
They love him. They're pleasure hunting him all the time. He's just treating the fire out of coons, and they like him. And sometimes a dog and a handler needs a change. And I knew it was at that time. I'm tired of working on that dog. I don't want to beat on that dog.
Right.
I don't want to do none of that stuff to that dog. I need to move on, and that's the best way to do it.
That's what I've done, except I'm moving on to females.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. What do you think? I mean, you look, and a lot of that, because me and you hunt similar bred dogs. All our stuff goes back to Skipper, and, X is, of course, Double X Junior, Double Jane, And I've kind of hunted that same line of dogs for a long time, and they're just so smart, Jason.
They are.
And I think that takes away from their longevity. And do you agree with that?
I agree that the smartness takes away from a lot of things. It takes away from their gear, the terrain that you hunt in. Like down here where I live, I can be in a golf course, or I can be in a briar thicket that you cussing every step of the way. The brains help them move around the golf course, but when they come to that briar thicket over there, their brains stop them from going in it.
Right.
just like me, I'm smart enough to want to find me a trail, a deer trail or something I can get down in and navigate there. And these dogs are the same way. I think it helps you and hurts you because a lot of times they're a little smarter than we are.
Right.
It takes you a little while to figure out why one's doing a certain thing. It just, I don't know. It's a curse and a blessing all at one time.
It is because, I mean, they're so good around the house. And
Yes.
X is just like my con that you never need a leash. They're just, I think Con's up to like 12 verbal commands. I could probably make him a duck dog. I could probably teach him how to deal 5-card stud if I took the time to do it.
Ain't no doubt about it. I honestly believe that. If whatever you want to put your time into with them, they can learn it.
Right. And that just makes it such a fine line with, how we treat them, how we hunt them, and how we do all these little things with them. Because, man, it's hard with a dog that smart.
It is. It's not easy because, like I said, they'll outsmart you.
Yeah.
Like X, he went through a big spell. He still does it. You line him up with strange dogs, he goes to growling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I drive sucker to 2 hours up to Bobby's, never get him to growl. Drive him 2 hours down to David Blake's, never get him to growl. Drive him 2 hours to a $30 hunt up in Princeton, Indiana, never get him to growl. Load him up and take him to a $6,500 hunt. He try to kill 3 when you cut him loose. I mean, he's smarter than he knows. He's just smart. That's all I can say about it. He's smarter than me.
How hard? Because I've tried to simulate a cast situation.
Absolutely, that's
and
what
you just when they're smart as X and they're smart as some of these dogs that I'm hunting, they don't. Some dogs thrive in a cast situation. Rain, for instance, is way better in a cast than she is by herself.
Yeah.
Trader was that way. He was way better in a cast than he was by himself. And he was like that, throughout his life. But most of them aren't like that. And they can tell. I don't care how much I try to simulate a cast situation. They can tell.
Absolutely. That's what that's right. He just knows, man. I mean, he just knows. And I've even went as far as going in, because I've took them over to the clubhouse and tied him out when they're having a $30 hunt.
Yep.
Tie him out, go in there and sit down, and it's like he knows, man. He's like, you're not tricking me, man. This ain't, you think you're smart, but you're not. I'm smart. Smarter than me.
Yeah.
I'm smarter. And that's not a good combination. You got to kind of be smarter than your dog. With this line here, I don't think I am, but I'm learning them. I'm learning. And like I said, I think it's more with the males.
I agree.
A lot of that line right there, man, they're cocky, boy. I mean, God, they cocky.
Yep.
A lot of X's, and it's going through X2 into his pups. I hear stories, them old boys, and they think it's funny, but I tell them, man, you don't know what you're creating. You need to stop it right now. Because Bobby told me when I had X, he said, man, you better get that under control. I'm just leading him around. He said, you better get that under control. Well, I look down there and think, well, he leads fine. I don't even have to have a lead. What I need to get under control. That tail's up over his back, and his ears is pent.
Yep.
And he's smelling the air, and he's pissing everywhere that this male dog has been around. That's the time I think that you need to stop it. But like I said, I'm done with males, so I'm not even going to attempt to get into that experiment. I've got a female, and she don't piss behind everything, and she's happy as long as I'm happy, it seems like.
Yep.
And that's what I'm wanting. I'm wanting that. I don't want all that.
I know with Bella, it seems like with the females, unless they're in heat or they're coming off pups or their hormones are screwed up, which is about a month a year, 2 months a year. They're screwed up about 2 months a year. But unless that's going on, they're the same all the time.
Yeah, they're the same.
They're the same dog. I don't care if they're 2 or they're 8 or they're 9 or they're the same dog.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. What female are you hunting right now? What do you got?
A little female. She'll be a spring 1-year-old. She's out of X, and Mojo's Mr. Green female, all-star. She's a silver.
Yeah, I remember that dog.
Just one that I raised, and I've had her from a puppy, and I like her. She's got a lot of class. She's stylish. I mean, there's things about her I don't like. I don't know if she's gonna have enough coon above her head to suit me, but some nights she does, and some nights she don't. And
Is she looking to get treed?
She is one that's looking to compete.
Yeah.
Yep, she's looking to compete. She's not out there just to be out there. She's gonna compete, and that's, there you go again. I don't, competition hunter, that's what they want. But me as an old pleasure hunter, you can knock a couple of them trees that you made here out of the way, and we can just take them 2 that you had coons in.
Yeah.
Just different of what a man really wants. But
that's one of the things I want to talk to you about. Is you hear on Facebook or the internet, or you know how it goes, meat dogs versus competition dogs. Now, one thing I loved about you, Jason, is you've always kept me humble. Because when we disagree about something, you let me know. And I've always said that these competition dogs, I'm talking these elite level. I'm not talking these dogs that make grand night and 40 hunts, or that are all grand, or that are out of good dogs and they're bred good, but they're not any. I'm talking about these dogs that are competing at these pro classics. That these are good. These are good meat dogs too.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Because I didn't know, this may have been one of them situations where me and you disagree, and then you're gonna bang my head against the wall. So I wanted to know.
Look, my opinion, before I give my opinion, I don't want everybody lead me down there like they did Jesus and putting him on the cross and crucified. It's my opinion. It don't mean that I'm right. I'm my opinions. Don't take that and be like, well, Jason Daugherty said. That don't mean nothing.
Right.
Just I said it. But I believe that they're absolutely, the ones you're talking about there, are great meat dogs. Now, would a man want to walk behind, shot through the world as a pleasure hunter? I wouldn't.
Right.
I wouldn't want to walk behind him. I would want me something more like your greatest dog that you've ever been with, Big Country.
Right.
Something that's going to go out there and tree coons out around me.
Yeah.
As a pleasure hunter. Now, I think that there's dogs that ain't had that opportunity that can compete with them dogs.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that there's not men that coon hunt that have dogs that can compete. But there's them dogs probably need some fine tuning done for the format of the rules and how it works.
Yeah.
Because the way to win is to tree coons fast. You've got to tree coons fast in order to win most of the time. To win consistently, you've got to tree coons and trim fast.
Where does independence come into that? Because I know me and you are in the same boat as far as I don't mind a dog to back out of the truck. And you mentioned earlier, these dogs that are in these bigger events, and you're talking about the final 4 of the Nationals or final 3 of the Nationals. But I don't mind a dog to back out of the truck. I don't mind a dog that backs on a track that he started and another dog's running with him or something like that. I don't mind that. But if a dog's treed and I'm recutting my dog and it goes into that dog, I don't care if I'm pleasure hunting behind the house for fun with 2 10-year-old dogs that have done all kinds of winning, I'm mad and I'm angry and it ruins my night.
Yeah, me and Zach Burden, we was in a cast. Me, Zach, my daddy, we was in a cast, a UKC hunt, and I was hunting this little female here. And I'm sure somebody hear this and get mad and won't bar me, but whatever. I don't care. I'm going to work on my dog regardless. I don't care what kind of hunt I'm in.
Right.
When the opportunity arises for me to do something I need to do, I'm going to do it. I don't care who's around, Roger Dale, Allen, whoever. Don't care. It don't bother me no more about all that. I'm trying to make a dog that suits me. And my opinion on this has changed over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want my dog there for no reason. If I did not make the tree, I did not want to be there. Now as I've gotten older and I see that what it takes to really win is you've got to have a dog that's got coon on its mind. Not dogs, not you, not deers, not fox. It's got to have coon on its mind. So I'm a lot like you. Out of the truck right here, Wayne, we tree this coon? Yes. If I can't tree it, I'd love to have 75 of it. I'd like to have 50. When we start getting in there to the quarter,
that's a little much.
I'm thinking maybe you might be a little bit too slow on a track. You need to be on over there trying to get your own tree if we're down there to do that. But I'd love to have that. If we cut them off that, I don't want none of it. In this hunt here, this had happened. We had cut right off of it. We let out through there, and we've got a dog at large working. This dog at large is just right out here, 50 yards. You can hear in the leaves. We got the 6 working, 8, whatever it is. I don't even know what you 6 around here because we all know that rule. So, we're working. We make our own rules up around here. The 6 is working. When that dog barked, that dog was locating. When it opened, it was locating. So when I popped mine off that lead strap, that is not a place for her to go.
Right.
And that's why I want mine. That is not a place to go. Now, if she was already at large and that dog opened, I can understand. But from my strap, you've got your mind on that dog.
Yep.
I want your mind on raccoon. So whenever I popped that snap, she went over there. I bumped her fat collar. Well, she ended up coming back to me, and I beat her, sent her on, whiffed, drew. I think Zach ended up winning that cast.
Yep.
But, and he told me, he said, well, why didn't you want her to go over there? When I explained to him, and that was his difference opinion. He said he would have let his.
Yeah.
I told him, that's fine. You feed yours. You can let her go, him, her, whatever it is. That's fine. That's fine with me.
Zach says that fine, but I've drawn him and Bobby and Sean a bunch of times, and I ain't ever seen anything they're packing go to something that's locating around.
I know. They want me to ruin mine, and they're get better. I know that old trick, but he said that, and Zach's like me, man. Me and Zach have learned a lot together because we've trained so much alike. Man, I remember, I could tell you horror stories about OX and Topper, man. We have them up. God, them old dogs lived a rough life. They went through things they shouldn't have went through to get to where they are. We both realized we messed up and done some things we shouldn't have done, and different things now. But Zach kind of wants his to get in there because we've lost a lot of hunts by being over there all by our lonesome too.
Yep. You dang right.
Where if we had one that would suck in there for 50, we would have been a winner.
Yep.
It's a double-edged sword, man. You live by it, you die by it.
I think, Jason, that me and you are in the same boat, and Jed may not want to hear this too because I handle for him, but I've never wanted to win bad enough to hunt a dog that doesn't suit me.
Right.
If a dog covers for 50 or 25, 50 sometimes, not a big deal. Like you said earlier, 25 is a little much. It's been a minute, maybe right. Don't go in there.
Right.
And that's one reason that I do hunt some of Jed's stuff is they kind of suit me, and not just because me and Jed are friends or he pays the entries or whatever, but, Rain suits me and Bella suited me because they didn't do that stuff very often. And so I never wanted to win bad enough to get a dog that just because it'll win, that I'll hunt it. You're kind of in that same boat, I assume.
I've always been in that boat.
Right.
I had a sure enough winner. Probably the first dog I ever done any winning with was Eagle.
Right.
Super Stakes. That dog, I don't know, something about him, but could not tree a coon here at my house. But you hauled that sucker across that riverbank, and you could not beat him.
Yeah.
He was a sure enough winner, but I'm not. I like to hunt. I hunt, up until this winter here, I hunted 7 nights a week. Summer, winter, fall, it didn't matter. So when I go out there, I kind of like to enjoy what I'm hunting, and I'm not. Winning has never meant that much to me.
Right.
That I had to have a dog that didn't suit me. Now, just because it don't suit me, don't make it a bad dog. I mean, it's not. It's not a bad dog. And that's where a lot of people get confused with, he had that dog up there. Ashley Guthrie's a prime example. The man had several top dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And he would pay this money for these dogs. Well, he would get them. And Ashley's kind of like a car, well, he is a car salesman.
Yeah.
But he likes to drive a different car.
Yeah.
It didn't make dogs bad. Them dogs was pretty decent dogs. But just because I had it and got rid of it, people look at it like, hey, something's wrong with that dog. Well, yeah, I mean, there's something wrong with all of them, but the big picture is that's a pretty good dog for me to even have.
I'll tell you who's a prime example of that is Echo.
Echo, look at, and I mean, I ain't taking nothing away from, what's his name?
It was Cable, who's as good a dog man as there is on the planet, just couldn't get along with that dog.
Doug Jackson had him.
Yeah.
And then Cable got him. And
Yep.
him and Cable just didn't see eye to eye.
Right.
I guess, because he taught him around some and never really could do with it but Cable's also been, that's what I think I'm got into that. The same thing is Cable's been hunting his line of dogs
Right.
for so long now. And I can tell you from messing with outside dogs, what works with my line of dogs don't work with all them dogs.
Yeah.
So I think Kevin pretty much suited for his line of dog because that's what he gets the most out of.
Yep.
Is his dogs. He's done great with them. Me and Bobby and them talk about him all the time, how good he's done with his dog is hunting them and promoting.
Yep.
He done, but Echo and him just didn't see eye to eye. And Scott gets him, and I don't know Scott. I mean, I guess Scott knows that line of dog a little bit. He's doing great now. He's back on top.
Yeah, that's just another example of
probably the hot dog right now.
Yeah,
really.
That's just a dog that needed a change of pace. And it's no knock on Kevin because Kevin, I guarantee you, Cable's going to come back with another great dog. He's had, how many good dogs. It ain't like he's a bad dog, man. It's just that some dogs and some handlers just don't see eye to eye and don't get along.
That's a fact. I mean, look at, I'm going to use Zach.
Mhm.
Zach and Topper just could not get on the same page.
Yeah.
And even though Zach trained him, I think a lot of it had to do with that.
Yeah.
And Bobby gets him, and Bobby does. It's really the same things, but in a different kind of way, and got him up and rolling. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Don't look at the dog. The dog. There's so much that goes along with a dog, man. It's just it's crazy. Bobby told me that I don't know. I'm just going by what Bobby told me, but he told me if anybody else had X, he would have never done what he done.
Yeah. A lot can be said about that with X Jr. Eldon Prettyman started him before Jess got him, and that was a dog that started slow, and he was slow to come around, and Eldon just kept putting the time in him, and next thing you know, you got a world champion.
Champion.
And if that dog would have started at my house, or my brother's house, or Jed Finley's house, or maybe even Jason Daugherty's house, he never would have been what he was.
Right.
And we're talking about, and we talked about Cable, and we've talked about Zach and Sean and Bobby and them. And one of the things I wanted to touch on you about is we hear so much, especially now, about pro handlers, about these guys are doing this and doing that, and they got money behind them, and they've got this and that. But me and you have been around this long enough, and you're friends with the Burdens. You're friends with all of them.
Yeah, I'm friends with quite a few
right.
that make out of this,
And what people don't understand, and we talked about this in the episode me and you recorded where the audio was messed up, but what people don't understand is how hard these guys work and how they are masters of their craft is why they get to this point. And so, I mean, just hunting with the Burdens, what do you see out of these guys that people don't understand?
Well, I think that this ain't even got to do with coon hunting. This is whatever you want. This is anything in life. Whatever that you're putting your mind, your heart, your soul into is going to pay off eventually. Bobby Burden has hunted long before money ever come in. But when they was having night hunts for trophies over there at the Butler County Coon Club, and he was just knee tall.
Yeah.
He still ain't no taller. But when he was hunting, and the man hunted 6, 7 nights a week for nothing other than the love of doing it. So I'm a firm believer that whatever you do like that, put your heart, mind, and soul into, and if you're doing it for the right reasons, the Lord's going to bless you. That's what has happened to Bobby Burton, because nobody get as lucky and meet somebody like Terry Yoder.
Yeah.
Terry is a very he's got a good heart. He knows. So for Bobby to get into that situation had to come from above, in my eyes. Yoder, somebody that, he knew that it's like with the horses and Chris. He's into horses too.
Mm-hmm.
Yoder wants the best of whatever it is. Chris is the best horseman. Bobby's probably one of the top of the line best dog men.
Yep.
That's what Yoder wanted. So Yoder went and found that. It worked out for Bobby too, because Bobby is now making a living out of doing what he did for free all of his life. And now he's finally to the point where he can make some money doing it.
Yep.
It's a blessing to have that. Not everybody gets that, but I do believe that, those that sitting around, I see a lot of times on Facebook. I try not to pay a whole lot of attention to Facebook, because you can't pay no attention to me on Facebook. So I try to see people that get what I call a little jealous in their heart, and they get to about how they've got it made. How, and when they say they, I'm picturing Bobby and Zach and Sean and David Blake, and, the guys that I know close, how they've got it made. They don't see them out there busting ice buckets. They, in the dead of winter, they don't see these dogs that don't make it, that they put all the time into. They don't see that. They don't see all these. They don't see these 2:00 in the mornings with it 10 degrees and them sliding down their hind ends and them hills and hollers to get to that dog.
Yep.
There's so much that they don't see, but they saying how they've got it made, and they do have it made because they're doing something that they love to do. But anybody can do that. That's not just Bobby or Sean or Zach or Blake or Kevin or Scott or Maynard. Anybody can do what these guys are doing, but you've got to put your heart, soul, and mind into it when you're doing it.
Yep.
If you do that, you're going to get paid. It's going to pay off.
And like you said, that goes for all of life.
All of it.
And I've been, and don't get me wrong, Jason, I've been just as guilty of it. When I'm over here digging holes in the ground, like I did on my last job, a couple years ago, and I'm over here running a shovel, putting telephone. And what people don't understand is I liked it.
Right.
But I would see somebody who's coon hunting for a living, and I would make a snide remark, every now and then.
That's our human nature.
Yeah, it is. It is. But
there's a lot of times I look at Zach and think, man, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
But like when Bob with Zach, and Zach's a hard worker, man. I mean, that is a pure-hearted kid.
I've always liked Zach, and I've got along with all the Burdens. Me and the Burdens have always got along really great, and I've always appreciated their work ethic.
Yes, but as good as I do, times has changed from when we were kids.
Amen.
Zach, different kind of time to where Zach could have definitely went down a wrong road. Zach is more like us. He's got the old ways in him. So, but I look at him sometimes and think, man, how lucky, man, because it's like what his daddy done so much work, and Sean, his daddy and Sean built empire around that boy, and that boy didn't have to go through the things that I went through. And sometimes I get, me as a human, I'll get jealous at that, and I'll think, well, he didn't have to go, he didn't have to sit over the crack house and smoke crack pipes to learn his lesson.
That's right. That's
like
right.
that right there. and it ain't got nothing to do with Zach. I love him. I love him. He's like a brother. I mean, he's like a brother to me. But I get mad at him because he didn't have to go through the mud to get to where he's going.
Yeah.
As much as his daddy and Sean and all the rest of them. But that's just human nature for us to do that. So when we see, but we don't see the hard work that Zach, we don't see that Bobby's got him down there working him like a Hebrew slave.
Yep.
You know, we don't see that. We don't see that, you know, his daddy is on to him every time he turns around about the way he's doing his dog. We don't see them things when we're looking on Facebook.
Right.
When we look on Facebook, we thinking everybody's life is just, man, this is just sunshine and rainbows and glitter and snow and gold pots, and you know, and it's not like that. Everybody on there has things going on in their life, and they have went through to get to where they're at.
Yep.
That, you know, that we shouldn't do that, but it's human nature to do it. I do it. I think everybody does it.
My sayings have always been, everybody has their struggles.
Absolutely.
And no matter, I don't care if it's a billionaire Mark Cuban or if it's the lowest man that you see panhandling on the edge of the street, you know, at a stoplight. You know, everybody has their struggles.
Absolutely. And I talk to them guys like Yoder, you know, because I can't wrap my mind around a man.
I can't either. No, I can't either.
$20 a weekend like it is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing. Grinning ear to ear, win, lose, or draw, happy as can be. I want that in my life. So I talk to that man. I call him and ask him, how do you get there? How did you get to that spot?
Yep.
That man left Michigan with nothing.
Yep.
He didn't have nothing. He was like, just like me, you, anybody else, nothing, and built that empire because that's what he wanted.
Yep.
That's what he set his mind to do. And he worked it with his hands up until he got it up long enough that he could work it with his mind. And then that's what he's done. And then he, like I said, a very giving man. He wants to share his happiness. Now, one thing he don't like about, he ain't told me this, but I know by being around him, he's a very positive-minded man. Any kind of negative stuff, he don't want to be around it.
Yep.
So, listening to me talk about dogs, he don't really like it.
Right.
You know, but other than that, I mean, gosh, mercy. I mean, I can't imagine ever being there in my lifetime.
You know, I can't see it either. And just like you, I've been around people, you know, you take what, like I've said on The Truth, and like we've done on this podcast, and this all started, Jason, when you think about it with you were one of the first episodes with Shower Shoes and a Bible. If anybody hasn't listened to that, they need to go back and listen to it. And what we try to do is explain that, you know, we all came from, and don't get me wrong, I've got a great life now. I've got no complaints. You know, I've got a good job. I've got plenty of money. I've got a guy that pays me to go to hunts that I enjoy competing in, and I've got, you know, I ain't gonna say good dogs because just like you, I don't like bragging on a dog. They're just dogs, but you know, I've got all these blessings in life, and people see that and they think, well, that's just a money guy, or that's just this, or that's just that. And we all started, you know, you talked about Yoder and Sean and Bobby and all these guys, and you know, we can go through a whole list of people that have started from super, super humble beginnings, me and you included, and have got to this point, and nobody wants to give credit for the work. They all just want to, and like you said, that's human nature.
They want to judge us for where we're at like it was given to us.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not, you should not do that. I mean, like I said, I do it. I've caught myself doing it.
I've done it as well.
Good. I should not be that way. Nobody should be that way.
Right.
You know, until you walked in their shoes, you really probably shouldn't really judge what they are or how they got it, or we're really in the end, what's it matter? You know, you're when I catch myself doing that, I make myself miserable.
Yep.
Through their greatness, you know. Why do I want to do that? Why do I want to focus on myself and what makes me happy, and not worry about what Josh does or Bobby does or, you know, anybody else does? If a backing dog, if my dog backing yours makes me happy, why do I care what you think about my dog?
Are you jealous? Are you jealous about them guys that got? Because I am. They got 3 or 4 red bones or whatever, and they finally tree a coon one night, and they take a picture with this coon on Facebook with 6 or 7 dogs, and say, "Man, the old dogs did good tonight, and we got a couple coons and stuff," and they're all happy. Are you jealous of those people?
I am. I mean, I'm a jealous. I've got jealous tendencies. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm jealous of Zach. I'm jealous
Right.
of Ron. He's got a better pup than I've got. I'm jealous of everything and everybody. I think that's just a human nature, but we shouldn't be that way.
No, that's right.
Like I said, with people I shouldn't even be jealous of, I am. That's human nature. I think it's something we all need to work on. I have really been trying to work on it here in the last 6 months. So, I just want my happiness. I think I'm getting a little away from the jealous and a little bit more greedy, where I'm want to focus more on me and less on everybody else.
Yeah, like a coon hunter does. I equate human emotions with dogs, and as we mature, and I just think age brings, some of this enlightenment like me and you are getting right now.
Yes, absolutely. Age helps it a whole lot. But I can tell you one thing. If you're young and you're out there listening, don't wait around till you're my age, because a lot of you wanted to do or could have done or should be doing, it's harder to do when you got a little age and long in the tooth.
Amen.
Man, it's hard to walk in there and do to them dogs what needs to be done now than it was then.
Yeah.
But I think everything's got a timing, and it's not our timing, it's his. Wherever, I think everything's already written. I think we worry a little bit too much about what's going on, and I think it's not meant to be. I think everybody should live like Mr. Yoder does. I'm just happy about everything.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw, or whatever. I don't know. He's a special man. That's a special man, really is. I think everybody's got a lot to learn from that fella. But
when you look at guys like Yoder and Ike Rainey and even the Stricklands and the Finleys and the Cole McVeys and the Joe Mannings and the guys that are paying these entries and that are hiring these handlers and that are doing these things, do you think that's, because I know personally for me, I think that's good for the sport, all this money in it. Do you agree?
Well, here's where I'm going to make a lot of people mad, but I can't help it. That's who I am.
Yeah.
There's good and bad people in this world, in any sport. Coon hunting's one of them. Some of them people, in my opinion, should be breathing air. But then you get the ones like I'm talking about that's pure at the heart, and the things they're doing it for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for the sport. But when you got somebody that's doing it for the wrong reasons, that's bad for the sport. It's not up to me to really judge. I do, like I said, just sit here and told you, I get jealous over my own brother, Zach,
Yeah.
But I think that if they're doing it out of their pureness of their heart, then yes, it's good for the sport. But if they're doing it out of for their own gain, then no, I don't think it is. But anytime you can bring money into something, helps build it. It takes money to build anything.
Yeah.
I had a dog kennel that was that I had one I want built. Whenever they give me a quote on that, I can't do that without money. It takes money to do that. And it's the same way with the hunts, where we want our hunts. I think a lot of people, I'm going to speak from my own terms. I'd like to be able to sit down here and turn on ESPN and see the $100,000 hunt in Mississippi.
Amen.
Us talking about wipe out Z, coming into this hunt favored 1-4, like they do on horse racing.
Yep.
I like to hear about the handlers and the trainers and the owners, just like they do on everything you see on Sports Center. I would like for us to be able to sit down and go over those numbers. You know, to me, there's no reason why they should not be doing that already.
Yep.
And in order to get to that point, there's got to be some money involved. And I think that some people don't want it to get to that point.
No, you hear money's the ruination of the sport a lot.
Yes.
And like you just said, you know, I disagree. I was a guest on a podcast on Coon Hunting University, and I talked about that, and I said that, you know, money is important, and we can mainstream the sport.
Yes.
You know, this is something that could be mainstream.
Absolutely. I mean, we've sat around, we've talked about it, and pro sport did a little bit of it, and they done a great job. They did a great job with what they had to work with.
Yeah.
But there's no organizations better than the two that has been doing it for years.
I agree.
UKC and PKC. PKC, if Roger Dale wanted to, he could open the lines, and they've done a lot of it with this $100,000 hunt. But it could. This is my visions of sitting down at the Sports Center that broadcasts Skip Bayless and what's the other guy's name?
Stephen A.
Stephen A.
Yeah.
You know, we can sit down there and we can argue facts with these dogs. PKC has every scorecard that this dog has ever been in. They know how many casts he's been in. How many first strike points has this dog toted?
Yeah.
How many first, second trees he's made? And, you know, me and you could sit down there and we could argue for days about, you know, who's going to win this hunt. That's what I want to see and watch. It's better than watching everything else that's going on in this world to me.
I agree. And, you know, I've got onto this on this podcast. I've had Shane Patton on the podcast too, and I've got on to PKC about growth and about the things we could do and how we could do more, you know. And that's just one of the examples. And the sad thing is I think that UKC with Alan and Trevor and them guys, they do more as far as that goes, you know, on the promotion side than PKC does. And I think it could be the opposite because PKC is just making so much, they're making so much money. You know, people are making money hunting PKC.
Absolutely. And they've got, you know, where UKC don't really have, I don't know, you know, if a hunter knows, when you go to UKC, the scorecards stay at the club. You don't even got to sit back. At PKC, you got to send that scorecard in.
Yep.
So they know. I mean, the girls over at PKC, I live here by them. I go over there. I see the work they do.
They do hard work.
Everything, man. They can tell you if this dog bred a dog and how many pups, where that pup went, who's got it, everything about a dog and the scores and how many hunts he's been in and his winning percentage, all that. They've got it. They've got it to do. But like I said, with the money, now I hope Roger just don't make Roger mad, but that is what it is.
And it's not personal. We love Roger Dale and we love Shane and we love all the girls at the office, etc.
Absolutely. This is nothing personal against anybody, but this is just like I said, my opinion.
Yeah.
Roger's making his money. Why would you want to do any more? You know, this is how I look at it. If a man pays me to dig a 3-foot hole out here, why would I dig it for?
Right.
Why would I do that? You know, because, you know, as long as he's making his money, he's going to be happy. But there is a big opportunity right here for someone to come in, and it might not even have to be with Roger. Maybe an outside source that would come in and buy them rights and to come up with this information and do these broadcasts beforehand, hunts and stuff, because I think it's something that a lot of people would watch.
I agree.
Even people that don't coon hunt would get into this, because just sitting here listening to me and you argue back and forth about who's going to win, Z or Topper, you know, would be enough to bring them in.
And, you know, like I talked before, we're on, and people say coon hunting's a dying sport, and you hear this, oh, it ain't like, it's different. Don't get me wrong, it's different. But we are in my opinion, we are in the golden age of raccoon hunting.
This generation here will be what sets forth the forefathers of the future. You can believe that.
Yep.
It has changed. What little bit of time I've been in, 10 years here, it has went from who's going to win the $30 hunt Friday night to who's going to win the $6,500 hunt Friday night.
And not very long. It's short time.
In very short time. But here's the downfall to that. Where I think if you don't do what we've just sat here and talked about, then it's going to get, because when I'm talking about covering, I'm talking about covering.
Yep.
Pro, the college league, all the way down to your high school deal, where, your high school would be your $30 hunts. Your college league would be your, $500 to $6,500 pro classics. And then your major league would be your $100,000 hunts.
Yep.
You've got to cover them all. You've got to make them all feel good about what they're doing. That's what they want. People want you to talk about them so they feel good.
Yep.
It ain't as much about the money, especially to your yoders. You think $100,000, I mean, it'd be great to yoder, don't get me wrong, but you think it's going to make or break him? No. Lord, no. Man, that man's got millions. It's the thrill of the win and the competition and the people talking about them. And that's what they want.
Exactly.
They want. So as an organization like PKC, I think sooner or later you're going to have to give it to them.
Yep.
That's my opinion, but I don't know. And even the little you to talk about them, if they can get a dog and it get on that sports center there, it get mentioned, oh man, that'll brighten their day. Make them smile ear to ear.
Yeah. You look at just the social media and the outlets that we have now. When I started listening to Houndsman XP with Chris Powell a couple years ago, we were, I mean, don't get me wrong, Houndsman XP is a huge podcast and it's a big deal. But now all of a sudden there are, 4, 5, 6 coon hunting podcasts. There's YouTube channels. There's all kinds of social media exposure. There's all these things that have come on in the last, I want to say 10 to 12 months. And we have a chance right now to grasp all of that and to maybe expand on it and become all of a sudden that, here's a local news channel, and then there's a national news channel, and then there's all these things where we're on the forefront instead of on the back burner.
Absolutely, and I will say this too. I mean, it speaks highly of you. I ain't saying this because we're going to be broadcasting, so don't get all.
Don't worry, Jason. You always keep me humble. Don't worry.
Don't get all soft on me and get flustered. But it speaks highly of you, and I apologize to him because I don't know, but I know his broadcast is the university, Coon Hunting University.
Yeah.
For you to get on his and for y'all to talk and there not be no, because most of the time, in the coon hunting world,
there's some jealousy and animosity.
There's jealousy and animosity. Y'all to sit down and come together like that, I think that speaks highly of y'all as people.
Yeah.
It's very nice and good. I mean, when I heard that, well, God meant to tell you that's very good of y'all to be able to sit and do that because, you would think that y'all would be competitors,
right?
But for y'all to do that speaks highly of y'all, and that's what we need in this sport. Moody put something on Facebook earlier about the difference between the UKC
and PKC. I seen that.
And man, that's something that it's not got to do with the registry, in my opinion. It's just us as hunters. We've got to be able to respect what you like and what I like and leave it at that.
Right.
And know that the main thing is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because you let something happen in this world, in heaven forbid something ever happened to me or in my family. But I think if something happened to me, I think my family would be took care of
Right.
through my brothers in the coonhound world, because I've sat and watched it so many times. But it's like we've got to have something bad to happen in order for us all to come together, and we should not be that way.
I agree, and we talk about that, Jason, and I've spoken before about, the people I've met. If it weren't for these coon dogs and just some sorry old walker dogs that tree a few coons, I wouldn't have met a Jason Daugherty, and I wouldn't have met my brother Jed Finley. And I wouldn't have met all these people that have done. You talk about my boss and owner of Joy Dog Food, Wade Drashwitz, who's given me a fine living, and I appreciate it. I never would have done any of this if it wasn't for these just sorry old coon dogs and people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that it's life changing if you dedicate yourself to it.
Absolutely, you've got to dedicate yourself to it. And to be honest with you, I've not found that yet. I mean, I get me wrong. I'm blessed to be where I'm at because I come from such a low place, but I have not found that where I fit in really here in this sport. It's not. I don't really believe it's the competing. Because I don't really have that in me no more.
Right.
But I know there's a place for me here in this sport. I've just got to land in it. It might be bigger than the hunting. I don't know, but everybody's got a spot, and whenever you find that spot, it really is.
I love that you said that, Jason, because, and I've said before on this podcast, I'm not a top handler.
Right.
Yes, I've competed in some pro classics, and I've won, and I like to think that I know dogs and things like that. But that's not where I fit in. I'm not a Dustin Weed,
right?
I'm not a Michael Ward. I'm not these guys that are winning these huge amounts of money every year. That's not me. Right. But I found my place with Joy Dog Food. I found my place with this podcast. I found my place with training young dogs and things like that. And so there's a place for everybody if we all get along and we all make this work.
Absolutely. And it's a blessing when you find it. But everybody, every one of us found our place in it through a daggone sorry dog.
Right.
I mean, that is. And, so we all started at the same place.
Jason, that is as well a spoken word as I can expect. And I had a few other things, but I want to stop it right there because that is as good as it gets. And I appreciate you coming on. You're our first return guest, other than the Circle Points episode with Finley, and you guys are both national champions. You're in the same spot as Finley. But
no. I can still kill a elk or a mule deer. I don't need to 3 months of my life looking for one.
There you go.
Yeah. I hope y'all have a good one. You and Jed and Joy and this podcast. And anytime y'all want to talk, give me a holler. I'm all about talking about a dog.
We're going to do it again, Jason, because as always, there's a million things I want to get with you, and this is called The Truth, and you always speak it. And so you're going to be one of our regular guests, whether you like it or not.
All right, buddy.
All right, Jason, take care. I appreciate you joining us. And as always, this is Josh Michaelis with The Truth on the Houndsman XP Podcast Network.
And that's going to do it for this episode of The Truth on the Houndsman XP Podcast Network. We really appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you go over to Apple iTunes and leave us a review. Just a couple lines. Tell us what you like about the show, and make sure you're sharing it with your friends. Also, check out our friends over at Dogs Are Treed at dogsaretreed.com. You can pick up all your Houndsman XP gear there. You can also get their premium tie-outs, leashes. Paws are protected, dogs are hydrated, the highest quality gear in the industry, designed by houndsmen for houndsmen. Talk to you next week. Thank you. We appreciate you.